all, welcome to History with R&R Roundtable. With me, as always, Jeff Franklin, Mark Dean for the Tired. How are we doing?
Doing pretty well. How are you, Mark?
Doing fine.
All right, so today we're a little late, but we're gonna talk 9/11. We had the live stream on Monday; it was really good. So we thought we'd kind of sit and have a roundtable discussion, kind of maybe go into it a little bit more, talk with Mark, see his experiences on it, and then we'll wrap it up. So, Mark, what's your where were you when you found out?
I'd been with the job that I'm at currently. I'd been there for a year, and I was still out on deliveries, and I was down at the beach in Gulf Shores, Alabama, making deliveries when I heard about it. When one of the receiving agents stopped everybody in their tracks and told everybody about it, and everybody made it to a radio or to a TV. And it was kind of like a surreal moment that was like, had you stopped you dead in your tracks. And like you said on your show a couple of days ago, it's comparable to Pearl Harbor in that experience. If you could compare it, with how everything got changed and within 30 or 40 minutes time, how much the world changed that quickly.
Yeah, it was kind of a wake up call to a few things that we had always thought were untouchable, they wouldn't do this, and a lot of mindsets changed coming out of 9/11 that we're still dealing with today. Like boarding a plane is a whole new adventure.
I could tell you a war story about that, but a couple of months after the flight started taking place, my wife and I flew down to the Bahamas, and going through TSA was a nightmare.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
especially that close
very much
to
a nightmare.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I won't get into the gory details, but needless to say, they did not leave anything not searched.
Yeah.
Luckily, not did that and leave it at that. It was almost an experience of like going to the doctor.
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah. So I guess with you being down in Alabama, did a lot of things change in Alabama, or was it more?
Certain things changed from an aspect of my job and noticeable differences. You started seeing more air patrols out of the Naval Air Base over in Pensacola. When the Blue Angels quit flying and they reconverted them back into military jets, you could tell the difference in between those and the other jets they were using. But they flew regular patrols every day up and down the beach from, I think it was right at New Orleans, maybe a little bit further, all the way over to the Big Bend in Florida and came back. They were flying daily patrols like that. And there wasn't within 30 minutes of each, patrolling, you would see a set of 3 planes that were always in the air, flying back and forth up and down the beach.
Yeah.
And going to make deliveries into the port when you had to board ships, that was a little bit different because you actually had to have paperwork saying who you were, why you were there, kind of like we won't talk about that, but why you were there, who you were. You had to have credentials and everything to board any kind of ship or go in. And to go into most public buildings, you had to get. It was pretty tough considering what we deal with down here with being a port city on the Gulf Coast.
Yeah, because you're a major export-import hub in the United States.
Yeah, but down here on the Gulf Coast, but not as big as Virginia or San Diego or anything like that. But
no.
Yeah, but we do a lot of imports and a lot of train activity, and there are major bridges that come on the interstates that if they were taken out, Mobile would be shut down completely. Just say it like that. I'm not going to mince words, but we're not an important hub anymore, considering that we have no military base here. Brooklyn was shut down before I was born. I think it was shut down in '68. So or '69. So there's the only strategic importance is the port.
Yeah. And just a quick refresher from Monday, like when I found out, I was working security, so I was in the security sector at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember coming out of that. Even up here, there was the there was a lot of, well, okay, we've got to change this, change that. Bomb threats were taken a hell of a lot more serious afterwards. The
Mm-hmm.
old, a lot of the old that doesn't happen here bullshit went out the went out the window. It
Oh, yeah.
was
Imagine.
it was just okay, game on, let's go. And like I said on Monday, a lot of my, there were, oh, we lost Mark.
Yeah, we lost Mark.
Mark will be back. Hopefully. But a lot of my family ended up going overseas. Two of them for sure. One a sniper unit, and then the other. There we go. Oh, Mark, your camera's on. There you go. Camera's back on, Mark. There you go. All right. So, but it's it really changed a lot of things, and then with the family being military, we were constantly, I think the main thing for the first couple of months was who's going, who's staying. I mean, we only had, I think at the time, 4 family members that were within that Canadian military that would be shipped out if it came to it. My cousin, he was gone pretty quick, but he's special forces, so he was just gone. And then it was a while before we even got an update on anything. So the family had to rally around his wife because he went to work one day and never came home. It was, your husband has been deployed. Oh, lovely. So there was that on top of it, and then of course there's okay, well, I hope that they get home.
Right.
Luckily, they all did. They all came home, but still.
Thank God.
Yeah. Anything you want to touch on from Monday while Mark's having technical difficulties?
Just briefly, I'll just recap where I was. I was living in Northern Ohio at the time. I worked at a public library, and I was getting ready for work. I was about to head out the door. I had the radio on, and news blurb came over the radio stating that one of the towers had been hit by a plane. No real details on it. I thought, oh, it's probably just a small plane, just hit the building. Sorry to hear that happened. Probably the people in the plane didn't make it through it, but didn't think of anything of it. Went on to work, got to work, and heard that the other tower had been hit. And then it got serious. And I was getting ready for a big meeting the rest of the week in the meeting room, getting things set up. And that's where the television was. And so I was kind of what's the word I'm trying to think of? I was kind of captured in the room there with TV, watching the events of what was going on, and
and they replayed horrific. That over and over and over again all day.
That's all it was.
Wall to wall.
Wall-to-wall coverage. We had staff coming in and out, wanting to know what was going on. I really couldn't leave, getting ready for this big meeting, and I just couldn't believe what was going on. I was in disbelief watching people jumping out of the towers. There were reports of what was going on in DC at the time, and it was just chaos from what was being told. It wasn't quite as bad as what they were saying, but the Pentagon getting hit, the White House was targeted. Thankfully, it didn't get hit, but
no,
it was, but it sounded a lot worse in DC than what they were reporting. And thankfully it wasn't as bad, but the things in New York were just horrific. And I just was in disbelief watching it.
Well, and to be honest, the I guess ironic fun fact, and I guess it's really sad to say it this way, fun fact, but out of all the buildings targeted on 9/11, the White House is the building that could fight back. It's the one building out of all the buildings targeted that could actually fight back, because they do have an AA gun on the top of the White House.
Oh, this is true. This is true. And I'm sure they beefed it up after 9/11 as well. But
So, all right. So we'll quickly get Mark in here with a couple more comments, and then we'll wrap this sucker up. So, Mark?
I think I'm back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're back.
you are
I am
back.
here.
We hear you.
I hope.
Oh, yeah,
We hear
you're
you.
good.
Okay. I apologize. My signal. It's the weather. The weather is getting bad.
No
here,
problem.
so I apologize for that. But
No
it's
problem.
just one of those surreal moments. Especially, I think the thing that hit me the most is when I got home, was my wife just sitting there watching TV and the blank expression on her face. We
Yeah.
just had our second daughter back May of that year, and it was just
Oh, well, Mark will be right back. Unfortunately, he's having issues. Um,
Well,
so
let me just touch on how this affected what my employment was and still
Yeah.
is. It's in libraries. One of the big things that came out of 9/11 was the Patriot Act, where it was much easier for investigations to be done on people. And one of the
Yeah.
aspects of that was libraries. The FBI, with a warrant, could come in to any library and request through the warrant the records of what materials that you check out from the library. And we had a number of patrons where I worked that was concerned about that. And I had changed jobs, moving from Ohio to Arizona in 2007. And just to show how long this affected people's thoughts, going to Arizona, you were still getting questions about what records could be obtained by the FBI, or concerns about, well, is this on my account that I checked out book X?
Yeah.
So there were concerns about the patrons' histories, and a lot of the software for libraries changed so that you could turn off that history. If people were concerned about their records being pulled, you could turn off what people had checked out. And that was one of the big things that had changed for libraries at that time. And we received direction from library management that, you know, if you have an officer or police or the FBI come in saying they need these records, we had specific procedures that we had to go through. We had to see the warrant, then we had to go get the library director or the assistant director and have them do that work. And if they were unavailable, we would have to tell the officer that they would have to come back. We'd give them the information of the director's name and say that they're not here today. We can't give you this information. You'll need to come back when they are here.
Yeah. No.
So yeah, some of the
And I'm
things in
pretty
my
sure that,
profession did change.
Yeah, and I assume that you're going to get that one rookie who believes that he's beginning and end all, and it's no, you're going to do it now. I would hate to be in that position, because you're
Right.
doing your job, but at the same time you're like, well, these people could make me disappear.
Exactly. Now, thankfully, that never happened where I was working. Now, I'm sure it did, maybe in some of the bigger library systems across the country, but where I worked, it didn't.
Yeah. But and a lot of that changed. Like a lot of things just stopped being an issue. Where you would go pre 9/11, oh, they'd never do that. Post 9/11, there's no surprise. Oh, what? The FBI is able to check what books I checked out? Yeah, that makes sense to me. Right? It
Right.
became it became something that was acceptable socially. Where I think if 9/11 hadn't happened and they had tried to do something to that nature as a precautionary, like to say, well, just in case something like this happens, we should have this ability.
Right.
It was like, oh, hell's no. But at post 9/11, oh yeah, no problem. Here you go.
Yeah. If 9/11 hadn't happened and they had tried to do that, I'm sure there would have been big pushback, lawsuits, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
So
you
Mark,
really didn't see a lot of that.
yeah. So Mark, before you cut out, just quickly, was there any like other than having to have like a lot more paperwork, without going into too much detail of what you do or where you work, et cetera, et cetera. Was there any major changes where government, where you notice like government really paying attention to stuff that normally wouldn't be that big of a deal, but now all of a sudden it's a big deal? Oh, hopefully Mark comes back. Because I know even like I said on Monday with my job, even here up in Canada, we were everything was kind of, and I mean I work security, so it was a little bit more. We got a little bit more stuff. Like for instance, something I never thought I'd have to do. There was the Grey Cup that year. The following year, the 1 year after 9/11, our Grey Cup, I worked security for it. And we had anti-terrorist group from the United States, which was part of the CIA and FBI, come up here, and I had to go through counterterrorism training because we were having the Grey Cup and I was security for it. So I had to go through that counterterrorism training for a week. I had to get excused from work. I was put into this course from people from it was a joint operation between the CIA and the FBI, and we sat in a class, and that was something that I never thought I'd have to do as a security guard, just a lonely security guard. But just working in a major event after 9/11 was a big thing. And because it was the first Grey Cup after 9/11. And I had to sit through a counterterrorism course.
So were there any scares at that Grey Cup?
No, we made it through, but they legitimately thought any sporting event, something could happen. So even up here, and I don't think that's really thought about very much within the groups, is it wasn't just the United States. Everywhere went on high alert. Like
yeah, I can imagine.
Pre 9/11, I would never think I'd have to do a counterterrorism course. But we still have Mark. Mark, do you have any major changes to the way you did business after 9/11?
Not really. Just what I'd said earlier about having more credentials and paperwork. Other than that, the government, I don't want to get into what I do because that would.
I don't want you to do that. No.
Okay.
Right.
But no, nothing more than normal, and keeping an eye on transportation with the DOT and all that. Other than that, no, nothing major happened besides that.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to wrap this up. And I want to thank Mark for joining us, even though the weather and Mother Nature and the connection was against you. Thank you for enduring and staying with us. I greatly appreciate it, Mark. And to all those who
tried my best.
All good. And all those who are watching, please forgive Mark for dropping in and out. He can't help it. It's signal issues. I'll blame, I don't know. We'll blame Bird. It's all Bird's fault.
Bird or Matthew?
Yeah, one of the two. They keep, teleporting him away or something. They're going crazy with that teleporter. All right. And one last time, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you,
and
Robert.
As Doom would say, thank you and good night.